Hello everyone, welcome to another Chris Roberts Games Addicts Anonymous. This is before Star Citizen, there was Starlancer. Starlancer was published by Microsoft and it was designed by Digital Anvil, which was Chris Roberts' new studio that he started just after leaving Origin. This one was different from Wing Commander, which spanned many systems across the known galaxy. This one was primarily made up of battles that took place inside of the solar system, with the first major battle being depicted here between the forces of good and evil, the coalition being bad, the actual alliance being good. And this battle that they're showing off in this wonderful cutscene is around one of the moons of Jupiter named Europa. Now, essentially, I don't know what started the war. You never find out. All you know is that this is supposed to be a peace treaty, and all of a sudden, the ships uncloak and just tear into the Alliance's fleet and totally decimate it. The Alliance falls back to a planet deep in the solar system, I believe it's Neptune, and tries to regroup and push back to take back their lost territory and thus push back the forces of evil. This was a game that really didn't have the buy-in that Wing Commander did, and I don't know why. Maybe it was that it was coming out just as the nature of gaming was changing a little bit, moving towards the console and away from the PC for a while. The game I found to be very fun, although very challenging at first. And this is why Star Citizen being crowdfunded is going to be successful, because you're not having a game that's trying to meet so many people's expectations. You really have a game that's going to come out that's going to be meeting one person's expectations, that's Chris Roberts, and a bunch of like-minded folks like myself and all you that are buying into Star Citizen are going to benefit from that. So this particular game is going to be more or less like Squadron 42, with rich, wonderfully acted, wonderfully thought out cutscenes and a branching mission tree. And what that means is that each mission doesn't have to be won, it can be lost. But each time you win or lose a mission, it's going to branch off into a different reality, a different way the game is being played. So that way you could play through the game a number of times, never having the same experience in those few, maybe 3, 4, 5 times that you play it. This is the welcome scene that you get, which is welcome you into the Volunteers, which is the squadron you're going to be part of. I liked this because it was one of those games that gave me the opportunity to actually fly as a female character. It's kind of weird when I was playing Colonel Blair all the time, and I really wanted to play Angel. But that was a really... I guess Wing Commander had a richer story in some ways. Because in this one, you have your character, but you really don't get... You don't get noticed. You don't get told that this is, wow, I can't believe here comes Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo who shot down all these, enemy fighters. You just don't get it. So here's our commanding officer, our CO. She sounds so much like the actress, and I guess I should do an IMDb search, but the actress that played Admiral Kane in the 2004 to 2010, I think it was, Battlestar Galactica series. She's welcoming us, and she's going to give us a tour of what our berthing compartment is. And this is another way. Well, I guess this whole storyline is kind of like Battlestar Galactica. Peace treaty signing, a sneak attack, a fleet of ships left that need to regroup, and, well, in that situation, they were running, scared, trying to get back to Earth. But in this situation, they're regrouping and trying to take back Earth. So, what I like about this is that you get a quick orientation from the game itself. And I cut out a large portion of the video here because it was kind of boring. I had to learn the commands again. It's been a long time and I've played a lot of different games since then, so the keyboard commands and the layout of the HUD were just a little bit too confusing to me to sit down and do a video without going through the training. So I actually went into the flight simulator here and played through 2 missions to learn, well, I should say, reacquaint myself with the controls that were in this game. I'm kind of hoping that this is a lot like the way that Squadron 42 is going to be, only instead of having it be these static animated images that you get to look around in kind of a false 3D, you're walking around it. She's essentially telling us, don't just go jump into a mission, get some time and try to figure things out. I didn't listen to her the first time through, I did this time. So this is the flight simulator pod. And just like Wing Commander, this one has one of these. And I started off here. And you'll see that there's instant action and training missions. I clicked on this for a second. And then we're going to just jump right into the first mission. So, alright, instant action, missions, flight training, and we're out. So as we go into the briefing room, we're going to pass some people in the hallway. So one of the things that I liked about this game is it gave me a feeling that other things were going on in the universe. And that's a lot of times when you play a flight simulator, there is nothing else going on. You click on a button that says start the game, and then you're in your aircraft, and you get a canned response from people on the other side. I like this in that there's this ambiance of people waiting for you and having their own conversations. I like how rich, how well created these mission briefings were. And if I stutter, it's because at the same time I'm listening to it again, and I'm reaching for my joystick thinking I'm going to be playing again instead of doing post-commentary. So essentially, the first mission is always going to be one where you are doing something simple, right? That you don't expect to be jumped, you don't expect to be in a fur ball. So in this one, we're pretty much behind the lines, our side of the lines, just trying to meet up with this group of transports and protect them to bring them back to the last space station that's left on our side. She's warning us that there could be some light attack ships and fighters that attack us, but nothing big. Now, of course, one of the stretch goals in Star Citizen was to give us a fuller and more rich mission structure inside of Star Citizen's Squadron 42. And one of the things that Aaron has thought of is that maybe in the beginning of the game, instead of starting off this way, you're in a massive battle. And I think that would be pretty awesome. So essentially, she just showed us the different ships that we could fly for this mission. I took the first one, which was the recommended one. And here we are launching. I'm telling you, getting this game to run well on my iMac on the PC side was not a challenge, but it was quite tedious. I had to create an ISO from the disk on my MacBook Pro, load the ISO, and install the game find a no CD patch, patch it up to the current version of the game, and then make some alterations to the configuration file to actually have the game play in a widescreen format. I think it was pretty successful, though it did stretch the graphics a tiny bit, right? So, just like in the last CRGAA that I did, the first mission, we're sitting over here, pretty similar mission. We're supposed to go into that area of red, right there, the holographic red area over there, and start the mission by getting into a formation with these guys. And here's one of Chris Roberts' old things, which was the cloaking ships. There are no cloaking ships in the Star Citizen Squadron 42 universe that we know of yet, and I believe in one of the episodes of Wingman's Hangar they said there wouldn't be. I don't know why I'm shooting at nothing. That ship came in and decloaked and then cloaked again, and I was firing in its general area hoping to hit it. So I keep on hitting the E key, which is the target key, trying to figure out where he is. Just to give you an idea of the HUD, looking at the left side of the center of the HUD, that's my speed. The right side gives me the energy available to fire my weapons. Lower left is my damage, shields, and armor. Lower right is my targets. In the upper right, you have 100. That 100 is how much fuel I have for my afterburners. Skull and crossbones are how many ships have I killed right now. The 29 is how many flares and chaff, in other words ECM, do I have? The weapons on this particular ship are gimbaled, so in order to get a hit, I don't need to get my Pipper right on the target. I need to get the Pipper close to the target, and the computer is going to move the guns on the gimbal mounts in order to make up for the area that I'm not hitting. It's kind of an assisted way of targeting. This is something that in today's world can happen. In 91, I think, is when this game came out. I don't think it's something that could happen. This game didn't come out in the 90s. It came out in 2000, I bet. Late 1999, 2000. So, I'm playing on medium level. I used to play this game on hard level, but it's been a long time, so I'm just trying to show you off, show you all one of the games that Chris Roberts has designed in the past. Star Citizen didn't get quite the accolades that Wing Commander did, and didn't have the mission packs and the, multiple games. It was a one-of, and quickly moved into the Freelancer universe, which, well, Freelancer was in the same universe, but I think it was almost a millennium after. Essentially, what happened in the very beginning of Freelancer was the Alliance was pushed back so far. It was the last battle, and it was around the planet Pluto, the planetoid Pluto, the dwarf planet. And the last remnants of Earth's good part of the civilization were there. And they were in these big giant colonization ships that said, you know what, we're not going to make it here, so we need to just get out of the solar system. So the last battle was actually these, the last people of the coalition just trying to hold off the, I should say the last of the Alliance, trying to hold off the coalition long enough for the ships to get out. Just as the battle was hitting its height, another faction comes in out of nowhere, out of a warp field, and essentially launches a weapon at the sun, destroys it, taking everything out in the solar system. The ships get away, and a millennium later, you have the Freelancer universe. Now you see, I've pretty handily taken on the enemy and gotten myself 6 kills. I've only used about 21% of my afterburner, but in this one, I'm going to use up a lot more, because in this part of the mission, they're going to have, there it is, the Kamov, the torpedo bomber. And the first part of this mission is going to be using this afterburner to catch up with the torpedoes and take them out. Torpedoes are quite a challenge shooting down, because if you're too close, the resulting explosion from the torpedo, see it, is going to take you out. And you'll see what I mean by that in just a little bit. So I'm trying to go and get the cam off, because you get extra credit for killing the actual torpedo bomber. But I can't, because he launched another torpedo. And this one I'm really close to. And you see, it took my shields out, and my front armor is down about 20%. And there's one more torpedo I gotta get. And he goes down easy. Now the rest of the mission is just cleaning up the fighters. So my impression of this game, playing it again after 10 years, is that it's still quite fun. I'm going to play through Freelancer, as that's closer to what Star Citizen is going to be, and runs a lot better on the current joystick setup I have on my desk, which is mouse and keyboard. The joystick I was using for this one was the Logitech Extreme 3D Pro, I guess? Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's a really good joystick, but it's just a little bit tight. I like the CH products and Thrustmaster stuff better. I have to go dig through all of my moving boxes to find them and get them set back up again. Because space simulators are definitely a game, I should say genre, that benefit from rudder pedals, because your roll access would be in the rudder pedals instead of in the stick itself. The stick itself is handling yaw right there and pitch. And here we go. Oh, I am just not good at firing on this guy. And I like the effects, and that even back then, Chris tried to build in believable parts of ships coming off. So we're getting accolades now for our performance. We got 9 kills, which I played this through once before filming this, and I didn't get anywhere near 9 kills. So playing it through once was probably a good idea before filming. So at this point, we have to hit our jump drive, which gets us back into the area of the actual space station. And now we're going to be handed off back to our ship. I think the ship is called the Reliant, which is something I was talking about last time in CRGAA. When David Haddock is building the lore, there's a lot of ship names that go back in time. I think the Reliant is one that the British Navy has had for quite a while.
Nice work, 45th. Now hold your position.
Now watch it not even be the Reliant. And there it is. Our home base, a big giant ugly ship. It doesn't have that same look and feel the Tiger Claw or the Concordia had. There we go. And landing procedures back then was pretty simple. You pointed the ship at the actual ship, hit the C key to bring up the communications, and then hit the key. There we go. And now we hit the C key and just hit number 2 and number 1.
Good to have you back, pilot. Your service crew.
You see what I mean? You're just called pilot. And I think what I'm doing is joystick roll here. Didn't play through with joystick roll, but I'm just trying to see, because I wanted to roll this.
Is on standby. Prepare to land.
Oh, I didn't even have a chance to do anything because it sucked me right in. So as we're closing out this video, I just want to give you an idea of one of the things that he did for immersion. And that was to create a lot of in-game news items and places for you to go and get that. You always had that in Wing Commander talking to old shot glass. But here, you walk up to a board, kind of not talking to somebody, but you have here where you can go through, and this is our news section. It's giving us pretty much a memo from the CO. Second part is news from around the solar system. June 23rd is telling us about the attack on Europa. And, of course, on the 24th, they're talking about where we are. Alright, and the next thing, I'm just trying to read through and show you the lore items they put in. These are the cutscenes, so that's the first strike. That's what pretty much didn't open the war, but opened the game. The war had been raging already for quite some time. Here's kind of what they're producing for us at some point, the Jane's aircraft. This is where you get all the different fighters of the Alliance and the Coalition, and the different ships also. Over here are the squadrons, and you can find out what each one of the squadrons' histories are. I just love the attention to detail and lore in the Chris Roberts games. That's why one of my interviews is surely going to be with David Haddock. Here are individuals. Most of them are going to be heads of squadrons. Some of them are just going to be very notable aces. Of course, my name's not up there yet. This is the kill board. This is how many fighters are, well, how many people are credited, well, how many kills each person is credited with. This is the last piece that we're going to look at. That's me, Vixen. So as we move on from here, I guess I'm just going to say that in the future, I'm probably going to revisit this game once or twice, but I'm going to move into Freelancer real quick and try to play through that mission structure. This is the save game feature. Of course, today's world has the automatic saves, and there's the auto saves that I already have. So, I'd like to thank you all for watching my museum pieces, my look back on old games. If you're interested in any of the older Chris Roberts games, almost all of them are on goodoldgames.com, GOG.com. This one, however, you could still purchase on Amazon.com. Thank you all, and I'll talk to you soon.